One of the fastest ways of improving at Dota is by spamming a hero. This way you get to learn all the ins and outs of that hero, and you get to spend more time focusing on fundamentals rather than trying to figure out how to play each particular hero. One of the problems with spamming a hero, of course, is that you're going to get counterpicked. People are going to pick heroes that are just good against your hero, but that's actually very good for learning. And this is what we're going to examine here in this game. We're going to look at someone who's gone from Ancient all the way to Immortal in just 3 weeks, spamming Necrophos and Lycan. So we're going to look at a Lycan game here, and Lycan, of course, one of the strongest heroes of 725. He did receive some nerfs in 725B, and this is actually a game from 725A, but I think it's still very, very applicable because the nerfs were, while severe, were very much justified, and Lycan is still really, really strong. He just went from being the most broken hero in the game to being merely very strong. So our boy 2D is always playing offlane. He also always plays Lycan Offlane as well as Necrophos Offlane, and he starts here with a fairly greedy item build. He goes for the headdress first, and a Quelling Blade as well as an Iron Branch, and then he's ferrying himself out a set of tangos right at the start, and he's going up here against this lane of Winter Wyvern and Bloodseeker, who are pretty good against him in lane, but more importantly, they are good counters against him later on, because of course Bloodseeker can rupture you, and then you can't run around with the ultimate form. And Winter Wyvern, of course, with Winter's Curse, can be quite devastating against Lycan if you don't play around it properly. But play around it properly we will, so we're going to see how that works later on. As far as the lane goes, this is not a very easy lane, just because this Winter Wyvern just does so much damage with Arctic Burn, and Bloodseeker is just a very strong laner in general. And Mirana is kind of hit or miss. You can sort of, if you hit good arrows, you can do a lot of things, but even then Lycan, he's not that strong at the start, and you can see me run down here. And honestly, I think he was being a bit over-aggressive here, but it's actually not bad. It's not particularly worrying here, because you can respawn by the time these creeps reach him, and because of this kill attempt, they also completely messed up the lane equilibrium here, so now you can get some easy last hits on the tower. And in the current patch, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because you lost 6 base damage, but here in 725A, you still have a lot of base damage on Lycan, so you can easily get those last hits. But of course, with new wolves, it hardly even matters. The wolves add so much damage, so as long as you reasonably good at last hitting together with the wolves, the base damage nerfs are not a very big deal. The thing about Lycan is he doesn't offer a lot of offensive potential at the start, but he is a pretty good laner in the sense that he has good base damage even after the nerfs, and he just has a lot of sustain with Feral Impulse, as well as, of course, that headdress you want to go for anyway because you want to go for Dominator. And you're really going to rush Dominator. You don't want any of these smaller items, you don't want braces or anything like that, you don't need boost at the start. You just rush straight into this Dominator. Like maybe get a stick if the lane warrants it, like if you're playing against a Batrider or something like that. Some sort of spammy hero, but other than that, you just want to rush straight into Dominator, because Dominator is an item that's really strong if you get it early. Skill build in Lycan is very straightforward. Be max out Wolves first, Feral Impulse second, take a point in ultimate whenever you can, and then just Howl last. Very straightforward. Howl is not an ability that helps you farm. It's more of a later game fighting ability, as Lycan has been gone on here again, and he's just getting low constantly, and it's quite a problem in this lane. But as you can see in terms of last hits, he's doing alright. It's only slightly behind this Bloodseeker, so this is completely fine. Even though he died once, this is not a big deal. If you look at the net worth, they're neck and neck. Actually seems slightly ahead of the Bloodseeker. And now the Dominator is coming out on the courier. It's going to be a 6:30 timing, which is very nice. And of course it's going to help you a lot with region, but now it's been gone on again, and there's no real way of getting out of this silence because of the slow from Winter Wyvern. So Bloodseeker gets the kill, but Bloodseeker is also quite low. We see a rotation coming in from mid, and this is eventually going to get this kill, and they're chasing after Winter Wyvern, trying to get that kill as well. Very important to save this arrow here in case of a TP, and that's exactly what happens. So they get this kill too. So even though Lycan died, it was 2 kills for his team, so that's a fine exchange. Although of course it's the rotation mid, which gives OD an easier time. So now he has Dominator, but no level 6 yet, and this is your big power spike to get Dominator plus Shapeshift. So you want a Centaur here, ideally. This is the strongest creep in the early game at least, and also really strong throughout the game with Lycan. If you can't get a Centaur, the second best option at the start is to get a Hellbear, like a Hellbear Smasher, which gives you this attack speed aura as well as the clap, which is not quite as strong as the Stomp from the Centaur, but it's better than nothing. And probably the third best option at the start is this Dark Summoner, which has this nice root, which helps you catch up to people, but root is not as strong as a stun, so you'd rather have the Centaur if possible. So now we have the Hellbear Smasher, and he's almost level 6. He just needs like 1 or 2 more creeps, and then it's going to be level 6. And here Bloodseeker actually TPs out to help his team at the bot lane, so as Lycan, of course, you take this empty lane and you shove it in. You could of course TP down there, but your creep doesn't come along with you, and there's like no guarantee that you're really gonna do well in this fight. But if no one comes here, this tower is guaranteed to fall. So either someone has to TP out, which also helps your team, or you can take this tower for free, and that is what he's opting for. And of course an excellent choice. If you can get these 3 towers, that is very, very strong. And I mean, they're chasing here, they're getting 2 kills. So that's nice for them and all, but I think you'd probably happily trade these 2 kills for this tower, which previously was a completely full HP. One of the most important things about Lycan, especially as Splatoon 3, is that you always want to fight when your ultimate is up. So he sees this Winter Wyvern, and he's going to go for him, and Winter Wyvern of course going to call himself, and this point actually should be going for the outpost. This would sort of have heads-up play, but he just goes for this kill. He would have gotten this kill anyway, but as it is, he's going to get this outpost slightly late, and they're not going to get this outpost by the 10-minute mark, but this is a play that would be quite difficult to make in the moment. So he's just going to continue farming now. He has ultimate on cooldown, and this is when you farm. You don't want to do any sort of fighting because you're quite weak without the ultimate. He finds a Centaur, and of course he's going to take this after being stomped. Could have gotten that before, but okay. And now its ultimate is going to be up fairly soonish, so it's going to want to move in a bit more aggressive position here. You know, farm this camp, farm this wave, and then you have the ultimate back up again. And you just put on pressure where your Spectre is not. So you're playing here with the Spectre, very greedy hero. Hero needs to farm a lot, so you need to make space for her. And the best way of doing that is just push in waves, force the enemy to respond in places where the Spectre is not, and then Spectre can decide she can either haunt in and take the fight, or she can just farm elsewhere if there's no big fight brewing that's promising. And right now he's hiding this hero, and the reason he's doing that, there's 2 reasons. First of all, he doesn't really see most of the enemy heroes, so he's just going to play it safe. The second reason is that if a single enemy hero comes here to contest these wolves and the Centaur, he can easily get a kill with his Shapeshift. While he's pushing at top, there's a fight brewing at bottom, and once again he's going to go for the split push. Someone has to respond to this. Otherwise, he's going to get this tier 2 tower. And you get a free tier 2 tower at this early in the game. It's really, really great. And even without his help, his team actually managed to win this fight. So, get the best of both worlds. But Bloodseeker responded here. And it's going to rupture him. And Lycan is just going to calmly hit him a couple of times, force the Bloodseeker to back off, and then just going to TP out. Level 1 rupture is not actually that devastating, and you have a lot of HP on Lycan, so don't be too afraid of running. Of course, you can't run for too far, and eventually you have to TP out, but don't just stand still on the tower. That would be the riskier play. Once again, we see this technique of just staying out of vision while his creeps push. He doesn't really know where most of the enemies are, so this is much safer, and you push almost as fast, because most of your damage really is in your wolves and your necro units. So Just gonna stay out of vision here. Actually not quite well enough. They see him here, but ideally you'd probably be standing something like here with a tree being cut. And now she's gonna go here on this Awful Devourer, and he's probably not expecting to get this kill, honestly, but he's gonna try awfully hard, and OD gets away. He still would have had an Astral here, so no good chance of getting this kill, but the enemy were forced to respond very heavily, and his team is also here. They apparently want to take a fight here. They have this chaotic offering up, and it's like kind of awkward because you already used your shapeshift here, so you actually have to get out of here. But just with all the movement you forced out here, the enemy are actually in a bad position, and so his team is going to be able to do quite well in this fight, and also of course still sticking around with those creeps and trying to help out as he can. So this is a very good fight for them, and of course Lycan now, after TPing back to base, is heading out again. He should have actually bought a TP. That's kind of an oversight here. But yeah, so they won this fight, and a large part of the reason is just putting the enemy out of position by doing this crazy diving, and which is actually reasonably safe on Lycan. So Shapeshift is about to come back up. So what you do, you look for another fight, and they see this Winter Wyvern hanging around here. The Searcher is going to run only his creeps at the Winter Wyvern, not his hero. Hero hangs back behind, and only when the Winter Wyvern is disabled does he come in with his hero, so he doesn't get his hero Winter's Cursed and killed. And now he's just going to try to avoid running too much, but also fighting when enemies are nearby with this Rupture. And his ultimate is about to run out. His team are still kind of far forward. It's like you don't really want to fight too much here. You just basically want to take this objective. This is what you want to do, and you can't really help out your team too much here, so you're just going to pressure this lane and just run away with this hero, because you don't want to die here. You don't have boots, so you have to be careful here. The way I discovered this Lycan spammer is he made a Reddit post talking about how he went from Ancient 4 to Immortal in just 3 weeks using Offlane Lycan and Necrophos. So I'm going to put a link down below in the description box so you can see that thread for yourself. And he has all sorts of useful tips here for playing Lycan, like how you control during your ultimate. The basic thing he does is just he controls his Center Conqueror separately, as well as his, and then uses his Necro Archer slow and just right clicks all the other units onto the target, runs past with the Center Conqueror, stomps, and then goes for the kill. See another fight being set up here. Warlock is actually killed off before he gets off anything. Kind of an awkward fight, you don't actually want to go in there. So he wisely stays out of it. Just because you have ultimate doesn't mean you have to take every single fight. So you just lost this big fight. What do? Do you go farm? Do you go split push? No, you actually go fight here. The reason is they just used Winter's Curse, very important ultimate. They still have Lion ultimate, but it's not that big of a deal, and he's even just going to be able to just put a lot of pressure on this Lion. He's going to kill Winter Wyvern, and Lion can't really do anything. You just run at people here. They're doing really well. This is a very well-found Lycan as well as a well-found Spectre, so you can just now run at people and take them out. And yeah, that is a very easy play here. If your enemy used a big cooldown to win a fight, don't retreat. Fight again once your teammates are respawned. This is one of the big mistakes that low MR players make, and why these big cooldown abilities are quite strong in lower level games, is that after people lose a team fight, they just get discouraged. Whereas if you lose a team fight to a big cooldown, the last thing you should do is go farm in the corner or something. You should immediately seek a fight while that cooldown is still not available. So they've won this fight now. They're trying to go for an objective here. Nice stomp here on this OD. And here you just want to retreat. You don't really want to fight without your shapeshift. It's still 20 seconds, so you want to be careful. Maybe in 20 seconds you can reassess, but everyone has died here, so he's just gonna go now and take these runes. The basic gameplay for Lycan is first to take all the outer towers, then you take Roshan and they can go high ground. But while it's very important to take those towers, it's important not to get too over-eager. In this position, most of their heroes are not nearby. See Warlock and Mirana slowly joining right now. Lycan goes in here and now he's not following the rules of keeping away from his units, at least not far enough. You saw him right before that trying to micro away here from his main hero, but he wasn't far away and far enough away. And Wind of Wyvern got a really good curse and Lycan just dies, not accomplishing anything. And now this fight is a disaster and they have to get out by any means necessary. So Lycan just respawned and immediately TPs down to the bot lane, respect that TP's top to push out that wave and protect that tier 1 tower. The reason he's down here is so he can push with his team. Ultimate is almost up again, and Spectre of course also has ultimate, so she can always join the fight with a haunt. So they want to try to take this tier 2 tower. Before that they want to take a fight, and Void Spirit jumps in a bit too far forward, and as Lycan of course you go in here, you support him, and he goes for this lion, picks him off. But you have to be careful with the Winter Wyvern. You have to practice proper social distancing, and he doesn't do that here. If Winter Curse comes in, that'll be very devastating, but actually it just goes on that Necro unit, so that was kind of a misplay here from Winter Wyvern. And as it is, they easily win this fight, and Bloodseeker goes down, and they can even take this tier 2 tower despite backdoor protection. Actually, they're not going to do that. They're going to go for this one, of course, which is much easier to take. Now that all the outer towers are gone, you can see our boy 2D running past all these juicy creep camps, and the reason he does that is because he's not a carry. He does not want to scale into the late game or something like that. No, his goal is to end the game early, and to do that he's just looking for a nice juicy creep. Doesn't unfortunately find any good one, so right now he's going to run up here with his haste rune, thinking, you know, let's just look at this creep camp. Unfortunately he gets Astral imprisoned, and this is not going to be easy for him. He gets Winter's Curse, and that is going to be, actually gets banished here again. Okay, and now he is going to die. So that's rather unfortunate. Yeah, you don't really know that all the enemy team is up there here, but yeah, kind of a YOLO play. But I can sort of understand it with the haste rune. But speaking of YOLO plays, there's Bloodseeker here farming the mid lane, and an excellent arrow. It's unbelievable that this arrow actually hit. So really good job for that Mirana, and they get this kill, and now of course they have a nice timing. So Lycan of course, when he respawns, immediately TPs here as close as possible to Roshan, and that is the next objective. Bloodseeker still isn't up yet, and does he have buyback? Yes, he does, but of course you don't really want to use it if it's such a low cooldown still, and they can do Roshan quite quickly here, especially once they have this Necro up. Should probably take a bit better care of his wolves. Those actually had a lot of damage. So we can tank here with his main hero a little bit, and a little bit with other units. You sort of want to shuffle around the aggro, keep those units alive as you're Roshan. And to get the Roshan, of course, giving the Aegis and Spectre. And now it's back to the fight. Another bad Winter's Curse here. This Winter Wyvern really should reevaluate his life choices here. So many bad Winter's Curses here. And it's going to really make it easy for our Lycan to clean everything up. So here's that high ground push we're talking about. Ultimate is not quite up, but he has his Necro again. Just going to use all his units up here to hit those buildings and keep his hero a little bit farther back. And Void Spirit gets Winter's Curse, but it's not too much damage here. It's going to survive this. And so our boy Lycan is going to keep back here, hit the objectives, while your Spectre and Void Spirit, they're more mobile. They can do these kinds of plays, poking backwards and forwards. As Lycan, you just want to go for those objectives. He now runs in with his ultimate. They're diving a bit here, and that's what he would do with Lycan. He would dive a bit, kill people or force them back, and then go back to the objectives. And that's what he's doing. and this is what is going to end this game here in short order. So this is how you play Lycan. You play the lane passively, you just farm, you get your level 6, you get your Dominator, and then you're really strong. You must take fights whenever you have your ultimate up, and after that take an objective if possible, and then go back to farming. And you're just going to do this aggressively, create space for your carry, and that is how you play Lycan Offlane. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and tell me down in the comment section what you think of Lycan Offlane. Is he better as an offlaner, mid laner, or a safe laner? And as always, I'll leave you with 2 other videos for your consideration, and Obelisk willing, I'll see you there.